Pokemon Legends Arceus is without a doubt the best Pokemon game in years. It's an experimental departure from the mainline games, while maintaining a familiar battle system and art style. This video is a review on Legends Arceus, but before I exactly tell you how I feel about the game, I want to talk about my history with the series, which I feel is important since the Pokemon community can be divided on what's the highs and lows of the franchise. I want to tell you about my experiences with Pokemon so that you understand where I'm coming from. I also feel that it's best for you to experience the game for yourself, at least a little bit, to better understand the review. I won't be detailing every part of Legends Arceus, but just my main thoughts. I've always been a Nintendo fan, so naturally I'd fall victim to Pokerust, catching, trading, and battling of course. To this day I know all the Pokemon by name and type, and I know my way around the whole Pokédex. I don't believe there's much I don't know about the franchise. However, I've fallen from my love of Pokemon, and let me explain why.
Shiro, Vipion, Snorlax, Kadabra, Mikaru, Dragonair, and Drag, and a new sitcom no, I'm kidding. No sitcoms for you, but I might make one.
My first Pokemon games were Pokemon Fire Red on the Game Boy Advance. I would loyally follow the series up to Gen 7 where I'd fall off from the series for reasons I'll state later, but for now let's talk about each of those games leading up to that point. Pokemon Fire Red was good. At the time I would only enjoy the games casually and not be able to really enjoy multiplayer since I couldn't get my hands on a link cable. But I wasn't quite sold on the Pokemon formula quite yet, as at the time I would be more interested in the Mega Man Battle Network series. I'd dive into Gen 3 proper with Pokemon Emerald, where I felt the need to conquer the battle frontier whilst only really using my own strategies, not truly understanding the games quite yet. I of course understood type effectivenesses and stuff like that. This was when I became an avid watcher of the Pokemon anime, starting with the Pokemon Battle Frontier anime. This is the point where I fell in love with Pokemon, especially with the legendaries. I thoroughly enjoyed the games of course, but my love for Pokemon would actually stem outside the games. Hooked into the Pokemon formula, I happened to get Pokemon Pearl as soon as I could, and I believe to this day I spent the most time on it than more than any Pokemon game. I was very motivated to complete the National Dex, and I did so without even trying. I even used Action Replay to unlock Darkrai, Shaman, and Arceus, but only using Action Replay to unlock the key items necessary for those legendaries. This was also when I became invested in competitive nature of Pokemon, learning what IVs and EVs were, and properly understanding the concepts of competitive battling, like the value of stealth rocks. I even manually leveled my first level 100, a film of Miss Magius, but all that ever amounted to was beating up my friends without much resistance. With my time at Gen 4 I still look fondly back on. My love for Pokemon did not attain growth for long. The year is 2010. And I was getting to my life where I felt odd playing kids games. I wasn't exactly against family-friendlier titles necessarily, but a game would entirely change my life forever with its emotional impact on me. Xenoblade Chronicles. Xenoblade Chronicles would let me see that there was more to a JRPG, or a game for that matter, than gameplay. Having only really played Nintendo JRPGs and platformers for most of my life, JRPGs became my favorite genre of video games because of Xenoblade, and it taught me that an engaging story with lovable characters is what I loved in video games. Would the kid-friendly Pokemon games satisfy me now? I would buy Pokemon Black hoping to find out, and even back then I didn't think Pokemon Black would hold a Litwick to Xenoblade, but despite that, I enjoyed them.
I'm really liking this gym, seriously. It's a very nice design by Game Freak. This game is amazing.
Come Pokemon Black, I regularly participate in not only competitive battling, experiencing weather wars firsthand, but the things that sets Generation 5 apart from the rest for me is that thought. The thought everyone's had. You know, isn't Pokemon battling a bit cruel? Isn't it literally dogfighting? Pokemon Black starts strongly illustrating that point in a daring move I still think to this day. The Pokemon Company has always tried its very best to spin the idea that Pokemon battling is just a fun sport, nothing more. So parents buying Pokemon for their children won't think twice about it. But here goes Pokemon Black, asking the very question they were trying to avoid. Pokemon Black and White challenged that question, and went to answer that question in its experience. Actions do speak louder than words, and simply answering the question of is Pokemon really just dogfighting was a bold move. Gen 5 will always have a soft spot in my heart for its boldness and execution. Don't get me wrong, Gen 5 is not gonna beat a real JRPG I think, but in the context of Pokemon it's the best we've had. From here on out I'm gonna speed through the next games. Pokemon X and Y I played and I thought they were okay. Pokemon Auras were obviously games I've already played before, but I got them for the competitive aspect of battling. Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, they're probably my second favorite generation, but Generation 5 is definitely a league above them for me, and I do appreciate Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon for at least trying to spin the formula with a new coat of paint. At this time, I developed a distaste for Pokemon Company's attempts to nostalgia bait fans of Generation 1 with all the signs of bias towards Charizard and Gengar, which I only mention because they would turn me off from the series as it seemed desperate to cling on to any fans of the first generation, not the real ones, not the ones keeping up every generation, for not embracing its new and iconic Pokemon. But I believe I subconsciously associated the story aspect of the Pokemon games to be giant tutorials, nothing more than to entertain until the post-game. It's valid to think that's a bit of an exaggeration, but if you don't entirely agree, I believe that Pokemon's always done that. Pokemon trading and battling with friends has always been a feature since the very beginning. 2 versions of each game was mostly to encourage this. I don't think Game Freak's priority was to captivate players with an engaging story. It would be a disservice to Game Freak to say that they aren't capable. While there are attempts at doing so, I believe that the broad appeal of Pokemon always came first. However, for its quality, the Pokemon games outside of their battle engine I feel is measured in their post-game, which I feel is entirely subjective. I feel that may be the reason people are so divided on which is their favorite. Or at least I'd hope so, because if we're talking about the main story for the most part of they're too safe, and do you like a fun slice of life anime? A shonen anime? Or Generation 5? My point is that I've fallen off of the Pokemon series for my standard of JRPGs, becoming more refined. I love video games, and I don't go into video games wanting to hate them. And the last thing I want to do is not to enjoy something when I could easily enjoy it. But the Pokemon series has been stagnant since Pokemon Black and White. Coming straight from Pokemon Sword and Shield thinking it was too easy for its own good, but making up for it with the fun multiplayer raid battling and the DLC, I became to lose more and more hope for Pokemon to captivate me once again. It's not that I didn't like the games, they just stopped wowing me. Pokemon Sword and Shield, although I like them, raids in the new DLC, and the new Pokemon are great, but the experience was lacking because it was samey as the other games. Again, I don't hate Pokemon, but with so many JRPGs evolving from the simple games you can enjoy to emotionally deep and lovingly crafted stories, most of which for decades have switched up of turn-based combat, but Pokemon never seemed to evolve past the point of playing it safe and keeping its turn-based combat. Whether it's by time constraints or whatever imposed by Pokemon Company, it was disappointing because I knew Game Freak could do better. However, come February 21st of 2021, the reveal of Pokemon Legends Arceus. I was pessimistically optimistic about the game seeing the presentation it was revealed in. Since we knew nothing about the game, Bo was pleasantly surprised at the new direction, but was worried if it was going to be executed well or not. I didn't plan to get the game on release date, but the moment I heard a new Pokemon was going to be in it, I decided to get it right away as I could. To adjust to Raja in the room, Legends Arceus is considered an open world game, and I don't like open world games much at all. My standards for open world games start and end with Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild actually being one of my favorite games of all time. I don't find Bethesda and survival open world games fun at all. Open world games tend to lack a lot of focus and are too open. Breath of the Wild captivated me by having interesting landmarks readily available at all times, and probably the most mechanically free combat I've ever experienced in a game ever. That being said, I do love semi-open world games. I'm sure you've never heard the term before because I just made it up. Some examples of what I consider semi-open world games are the Mario 3D platformers like Sunshine and Odyssey, Monster Hunter Rise, Metroidvanias, and well, I consider Legends Arceus a semi-open world game, and I do like it. I call them semi-open world games because the worlds aren't as big as say Breath of the Wild did like Chronicles X, but because of the smaller worlds, they're typically more fine-tuned and more engaging experiences. When I got into Legends Arceus, you're greeted with a long tutorial phase. A lot of people consider the long tutorial phase really annoying, but I find it to be a lot of world building. But once you're done with the long tutorial phase, this is the game you've imagined as a kid. To catch Pokemon, interact with and against them on a more personal level. You can literally run away from a Pokemon battle to disengage with them. The goal of Pokemon Legends Arceus is to help create the first Pokédex, and I love that there's multiple ways of completing it. It isn't just catch one Pokemon once and now you know its whole skeletal structure. You must do multiple things to do so. This game made me want to catch Pokemon just for fun and catch them all over again. Learning new things about Pokemon helps further research too. If you know enough about a Pokemon, maybe you'll know what its favorite foods are. I wouldn't say this is the best game ever per se. Like, this game didn't invent sliced bread, or is the best thing since the wheel, or isn't the best sliced bread of the wheel, but it sure is fun. It's a great simple loop that I think a friend of mine put it perfectly for me. It's pretty amazing for Pokemon, but good in general if we're talking about just gaming. But it's fun, and that's all that matters. The game doesn't need to be a 10 out of 10 to be fun, obviously, but I just wanted to emphasize that this is probably the best Pokemon's been in a while, but it isn't the best the gaming has to offer. And a lot of people, for whatever reason, still care about graphics on consoles. Like, I thought we were past the graphics talks and like caring about the graphics as long as it has a good art style. But oh my god, guys, this game has bad graphics and an inconsistent frame rate. It sucks. The narrative is quite an interesting departure from the mainline Pokemon games. No longer is the day of gym leaders and stuff like that. The focus isn't on battling. The focus is on building the Pokédex. The narrative being different does so much for its appeal, which it feels Pokemon's strong suit. Appeal. The characters have better animations now. They have a lot of facial animations. The Pokemon themselves, although the animations are new, the new environment, the new perspective makes them look appealing. Pokemon designs have never not been appealing. These characters are amazing. At this point, I don't think Pokemon will ever try to captivate in the same way Dragon Quest does with its loving story, but I think it's consistent with keeping its gameplay simple and fun, and its appeal as its priority. The side quests are actually quite charming, keeping to Pokemon's own lore quite nicely. There's a ton of references for Gen 4 lore heads out there, and those with a mean look can enjoy. The moment I heard Almighty Sinnoh, I knew I was in for a good time. I know I didn't go deep at all into Pokemon Legends Arceus, but the point I wanted to end on, probably the missing piece of Pokemon I've been longing for. It wasn't a new, different, bold story like Pokemon Black and White 1 and 2, nor the new gameplay direction, although it's very welcomed. For me, the missing piece of Pokemon I've been looking for is genuine discovery. Legends Arceus could easily become the next stagnant Pokemon series where every year we get a Legends Arceus game set in different regions with different Pokemon. What makes Legends Arceus special is that it's new. And since it's new, there's discovery. We may not be discovering new Pokemon necessarily, but what drives Arceus is discovering the fun of a new gameplay style with the familiar Pokemon we all know and love. Imagine if Sword and Shield was in this new format. New Pokemon, new region, new story, new gameplay. I believe nobody would have cared for the National Dex cut, because no one cares about it now in Arceus. But I believe if Game Freak was given enough time, Pokemon Company, please give them more time, can do good. Pokemon Legends Arceus outsold BDSP, which was a holiday title, which was a remake of a beloved game. If the experimental new game is outside the nostalgia bait, in the nostalgia bait franchise, Pokemon, I hope that our echoed voices are heard. Boy, it's twerking on me.
Hello YouTube, and we're back. After jumping off a building just to heal my Pokemon, we're back. I really don't know. Oh, I got an idea. Drag! Because he's such a drag. Ow! This gym's great. It's full of women. Yeah, I heard there was a parody of this game, and then they had like some guy going like, "This gym's great. There's a whole lot of men."
Okay, here comes Amoga. Coming at fast speeds. And here comes Umad at a rocky start.
There's a lot of things I should say. I see. That is not what the sign says.
My name is Kadabra, and where's Dran, Mikaru? We can't have a reunion without everyone here. Really? You didn't invite him here? Oh, who else but Drag? Charizard was going to drag down the party. That's cause he's a fucking drag.